What up schmucks, it's Ace Trainer Liam and welcome to another episode of Form Fight. As you know, Form Fight is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon with more than one form, or a branched evolution, or a counterpart Pokemon. We have a look at the differences between those forms and we try and work out which one is the best. And so we can see these Pokemon in action on the battlefield. We also have a metronome battle between the Pokemon that we're looking at, just for a little bit of fun. If you're already a fan of Form Fight, make sure you hit the like button, show your appreciation for this series, and of course hit the subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. But with all that out the way, let's look at today's challenges. Today we're going to be looking at the two forms of Lucario, which are Lucario and Mega Lucario. When you have a Lucario in your party, of course, will always be in its normal form. However, a Lucario holding Lucario Knight will be able to Mega Evolve in battle into Mega Lucario, and of course will remain that way until the end of the battle. But what makes these two forms of Lucario so different? Let's take a look. According to the Pokédex, Lucario in its normal form stands at 1.2 meters tall and weighs 54 kilograms. Its Pokédex data says that it concentrates its mental energy and fires off mysterious waves called auras, which can crush boulders of large size to dust. Lucario reads its opponent's feelings with its aura waves. It finds out things it would rather not know, so gets stressed out easily. Mega Lucario stands at 1.3 meters tall and weighs 57.5 kilograms. Its Pokédex entry says its aura has expanded due to Mega Evolution. Governed only by its combative instincts, it strikes enemies without mercy. Bathed in explosive energy, its combative instincts have awakened. For its enemies, it has no mercy whatsoever. Appearance-wise, both are bipedal creatures that resemble jackals or golden wolves, depending on what text you read, and are heavily inspired by the ancient Egyptian god Anubis. They both have mostly blue fur and spikes protruding from their wrists and chests, with Mega Lucario having much more fur and extra red areas as well as more spikes. In their shiny forms, both forms of Lucario swap out their blue areas for yellow, and their beige dorsal fur turns to a light blue. Now we'll take a look at their typing, weaknesses, and resistances. Both forms of Lucario, both Lucario and Mega Lucario, are dual-type fighting and steel-type Pokemon, which makes them weak to fighting, ground, and fire-type moves. They both resist normal, rock, bug, steel, grass, ice, dragon, and dark type moves, and are completely immune to poison type attacks. Now let's take a look at the stats and abilities of these Pokemon forms. Lucario itself is somewhat of a glass cannon, boasting excellent attack and even better special attack with an above average speed stat, whereas its defense, special defense, and HP are all fairly lackluster. Lucario's primary ability is Steadfast, which increases Lucario's speed by one stage each time it's made to flinch. This is a handy ability for giving Lucario an extra chance to outspeed its opponents, although needing an opponent to make you flinch to set your Pokemon up is never a good strategy, since that first flinch can be the beginning of the end, especially in double battles if you're targeted by both opponents. Its secondary ability is Inner Focus, which prevents Lucario from flinching. This is a great ability for preventing opponents from bringing Lucario to a halt, allowing it to keep on attacking without interruption. And finally, Lucario's hidden ability is Justified, which increases Lucario's attack stat by one stage when it's hit by a dark type move. Again, increasing Lucario's attack stat can be useful if you're running a physical build, although using this ability does heavily rely on your opponent mistakenly using a dark type move on Lucario, a Pokemon that resists it. As for Mega Lucario, it gets a slight increase in defense, nothing else added to its bulk, whereas it gets a huge increase in attack and special attack as well as a moderate increase in speed, basically creating a faster Lucario with a much harder punch. Defensively though, there's barely any difference between the regular and the Mega. Mega Lucario's only ability is Adaptability, which increases the same type attack bonus Mega Lucario receives for using fighting or steel type moves from 50% to 100%, meaning every fighting or steel type move Mega Lucario uses deals double the damage that it normally would, which with its increased stats means Mega Lucario can hit incredibly hard. What's more, this is a permanently active ability, which means it needs no setup. Now it's time for me to decide which of these two forms of Lucario I prefer, and as always, it's gonna be the Mega, because there's no reason to use regular Lucario in a world where Mega Lucario exists. I've said this with a lot of the Mega evolutions where they just keep the same typing because it just makes so much sense to just go with the Mega. Like, they both look very similar. This is a very Sceptile type situation in that they both look very similar, whereas this is a very Swampert situation in the sense that they're basically The Mega is just an increased stat version of the regular, but this time Mega Lucario even has a much better ability. So not only is it similar in bulk, but it's got massive increases in its attack and its special attack and its speed, and it hits even harder with stab moves, so what's even the point of using regular Lucario? There is no point. But of course, it's not just up to me, it's up to you guys to decide which of these forms of Lucario is your favourite, but before you do, it's time to see these Pokemon on the battlefield. It's time for the Metronome battle. As always, I'll just point out these Pokemon have max IVs in all stats, 0 EVs in all stats, they're not holding any items, they've got their hidden abilities, although Mega Lucario only gets 1 ability, so obviously that gets adaptability. Regular Lucario will be using Justified. They're the same type, so the only advantage or disadvantage any of these Pokemon get comes from their base stats. Everything else is all up to the Metronome. Let's go. It's time for Lucario versus Mega Lucario, the battle of the fighting and steel type Pokemon that have very similar defensive stats, except one is really way more offensively powerful. Who's going to come out on top? I have an inkling I know which one's going to come out on top, but let's see if I'm right. Of course, the faster Pokemon, Mega Lucario, is going for Hone Claws, so it's going to increase its attack and its accuracy from the get-go, which is a scary thought in itself, especially with that adaptability as well. Water Shuriken coming out from Shiny Mega Lucario onto regular Lucario. 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits with the Water Shuriken, 5 hits, a complete Water Shuriken from the Mega from the get-go. What a great first turn. How will the regular team respond? Shiny Lucario goes for Lucky Chant, wants to protect against critical hits. I mean, that is definitely a way to ensure some safety, but remember that Lucario and Mega Lucario are not known for having great defenses, so don't worry about crits, worry about hits in general. But here's a low kick from regular Lucario to the normal Mega, and oh my goodness, takes about 3/4 of its health off from the start. See what I mean about low defenses? Here's Shiny Mega going for Toxic, but that doesn't affect the Steel type Lucario. Nobody here is going to get poisoned. Here's regular Mega Lucario going for Perish Song. It wants to end this thing in the next 3 turns. My goodness, I don't think that bodes well for the Mega team though, because I think the slower Pokemon will be the last to die if Perish Song takes effect. This is interesting, but we see an eruption coming out from the shiny regular Lucario. That knocks out the regular Mega and brings the shiny Mega down to nearly no HP. Oh my goodness, it's already in the red. Is this the upset of the century? We see Spirit Shackle coming out from regular Lucario, and oh my goodness, is this going to be a knockout? That's the shortest form fight ever. Oh my goodness, Lucario, regular Lucario wins it. I'm a little bit shook, I'm not going to lie. Wow, well done to them. Jesus. So you've heard what I've got to say, you've seen these Pokemon on the battlefield, but now it's time for you to make your decision. Which of these 2 forms of Lucario do you prefer? Is it Lucario or Mega Lucario? Let me know in the comments and explain to everybody why your pick is the absolute best. And of course, that's where I'll leave it for this episode of Form Fight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, and if you're new, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode of this series. If you'd like to support the channel like these lovely people down here do, you can pledge to my Patreon. That's patreon.com/AceTrainerLiam. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.